All right, Pat.
Go ahead.
All right.
Let's do it.
So, before I talk about what I played
right
this
there.
week, I have this thing. Hey, Mike, have you gotten your hands on a Steam controller?
No.
Great.
Don't.
I have one with me. I would hand it to you for testing purposes. Unfortunately, you're in the internet. That's not going to work very well. So you just have to take
We don't
my
have
word
hands
for
in
it.
the internet.
Matt has already held this thing. Liam?
I had to go to the doctor right after because he said you have crippling arthritis in your
Okay,
hands.
hold on. Don't taint it.
I want you to hold
we
it.
tainted it on Twitter.
And I want you to get a feel for it and maybe make whatever sound effect you want. But hold off your judgment until I also give it to Wooly so we can get that first...
Let's go, unbiased. Just you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything until Wooly gets it.
All right.
Make sure to rub your thumb on the
use the
D-pad.
D-pad.
Okay, for those who are listening out there, eyebrows are being raised, and slight.
Can I ask a question to someone from the internet?
Ask away.
Yes, please.
So I don't have one to touch, obviously, but from looking at it, the thing that I was most reminded of, and you're all, well, some of you are old enough that you probably remember this because you talked about Spectrum games.
Yeah.
Do you remember the third-party controller called the Turbo Touch 360?
Yes, I do. I saw that in
From
ads and
everything that
comic
I've
books.
seen, yeah, from everything that I've seen of the Steam controller, it reminds me slightly of that for like the D-pad.
Yeah, no, I totally
All right,
agree.
so Liam's done with it. I'm going to hand it to
done.
Wooly. Wooly, feel free to enunciate your feelings.
Now, Wooly, remember, Wooly, a few minutes ago, you said, not a few minutes ago, but an hour ago, you were holding another controller, and you said, that's the worst D-pad I've ever felt. Now you're holding the Steam controller D-pad.
Do a pretzel motion on that. Throw out a-
Raging storm.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow.
So this thing,
What's your first feel reaction?
it feels like it has the same quality as an Ouya controller,
Yes.
except the Ouya controller costs $99 and comes with a console and a useful HDMI cable, whereas this costs $60 and I assume only comes with a useful mini USB cable.
It also comes with a little wireless dongle so you can play
Fantastic.
This is poor.
Build quality's bad,
This should have been
and
a
it doesn't
slam
have
dunk.
good weight to
So,
it. Like,
so it's gonna
Okay.
be
The way it
hard
is
for
distributed all over.
the mic to pick up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay.
But I want Wooly. I want you to
man,
use the D-pad while we're silent. It is, without a doubt, the loudest controller I have ever used.
GameCube controllers are loud, but only due to the shoulder buttons
shoulder
because they
buttons,
crack.
yeah.
Everything else is fine. And also when
the
you're playing
stick.
Smash.
when you're playing Smash, they're loud.
you have to flip the stick.
This
so
thing
much, but-
is bordering on arcade stick noise during general use. And hold on, give me that back.
Yeah.
So if
think
you
it
turn
make
it
noise.
on, that
makes beeps.
weird haptic thing.
Yeah, do that.
Feel that stupid
Oh, I
shit.
Control your mouse with that.
Oh yeah, it does. It has a little rumble on
Liam
it.
got it.
when
Guess
you,
what? You can't
when
tell
you
because we're
cursor
talking.
move.
Oh, yeah, I feel
That shit's super loud too
Is
in
it?
a quiet room.
I
So-
can hear it just a little bit.
Okay, so the thing like with the Steam controller, the big advertising point was the two haptic pads, and those are just about as big as I thought they would be.
Yeah.
and they're just as in the way as I feared they would be as well.
Hand me that back. I'm going to need that to.
A lot of games are going to need those four face buttons.
So
and
why is it
they're
curved
way the
upward
fuck
like
out of
Just
the way?
fuck you.
Yeah.
So here's the
Yes.
deal, right? So I
Wait,
have
so-
tiny baby. Oh, sorry. After you, Mike.
It's okay. I was gonna ask a question before, but there wasn't an opportunity because
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
Well, what's your question, man?
So the thing on the left that is the D-pad,
yeah.
The thing on the left.
is that because I don't know what to call it, right?
No, neither do we.
Is that actually a touchpad
It's
that will?
it's just a haptic touchpad that has a cross on it.
Okay,
To make you
Thank
feel
you
better.
for clearing that up. Then what
Right.
clicks?
So like imagine if you had a big flat fucking
Indentation.
It's
You know-
just one big button.
Okay, you know the Mad
It would
Catz
be like if-
fight pad?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if the surface of the D-pad on that was shaved down by half, right? So it's about 2 millimeters high, and it's also haptic. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
press it to get directions out of it, but it's also sensitive towards your touch.
Imagine you took a Xbox 360's analog stick and widened it out to the size of a pizza and then smashed it down, and clicking on the left stick on the different sides is what your D-pad is.
You feel the
okay.
You feel the spring
do you
in
think
there.
you
like
could do a pretzel motion on that, Mike?
I could barely do a pretzel motion on pad when I still played on
That's
pad.
why
so
Skullgirls has
probably
those.
Yeah, there you go.
But the serious question is, can you play FPSs on it? Because I mean, that's like what it's designed for.
So let's go into my experience with this device.
Well, just as an aside, grab it back, Liam. As an
Real quick before your experience, did you mention this on the phone the other day, how the X button is located really deep into the controller? The X button's depth to the middle of the controller, it overlaps with where the Steam button is. So if you at home have an Xbox One or a PS4 pad, imagine if the square or X button was like overlapping
where the PlayStation
the
or
depth
Xbox
of the
button.
PlayStation or
pass it back
Xbox
to me.
button.
I don't know why, but pass
That's
it back.
ridiculous.
The thing about me is when I first said, I said these are the worst. Everything on the shoulders, get it off. It's a complete page one rewrite of the shoulder area.
Man.
Like you went to the doctor and he fucked up your shoulders.
Like
It's
I
not
have,
good, the
I have
shoulders.
giant ass hands that can actually hold the Duke Xbox
And
You have
controller.
ass hands? That
yes,
sounds-
he has ass
And the,
hands.
and the buttons, the face buttons, feel like little M&Ms.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult to use a stick.
So-
However, my thumb has
Wooly-
to reach over for that.
Wooly can see my hands right now.
Yeah.
And I have tiny baby hands. Look how I can't actually reach the X button on this controller
Wow.
without completely repositioning.
Okay, so I
Pass
saw
me that on the edge of the couch, on the shoulder.
So I saw during this week, all I saw was your Steam account popping up with various games
Over
and over again. So run us through it, man.
All right, so I get the controller, right? I plug it in and I sync it. It syncs no problem. That's fine.
And then you play your favorite game right
I
away.
said, hey, I'm playing Transformers Devastation. That game uses a controller. That seems like a decent test. Let's give it a shot. Load up Transformers Devastation. None of the buttons work except for Y, and that's set to enter. The analog stick has weird haptics that I can't turn off. The triggers don't work. I can't even get into the gameplay of Transformers Devastation because the menu is totally unnavigatable.
So it doesn't default to X input layout?
So I look, and all the prompts are keyboard prompts. So I go, that's weird. So I back out and check it. No, it's set to gamepad mode, which should emulate an X input device.
Yeah.
Operative word.
So I tried. I asked. There's a guy, Craig. What's his name? Craig something.
Crade.
Oh, Craig Juke.
Craig Juke or whatever. He's in the
on
Steam
NeoGAF.
topic on GAF, and he works for them.
He's a great poster.
And I'm like, okay, so this shit's busted. And he says some games like DOS Boss games or rare, they just don't work with that. Like Tembo, the Badass Elephant, doesn't work with this at all. Right?
Oh no!
Because there's just no support, and that's a bug, and that'll get fixed.
Damn.
But gamepad mode should work. So I try Transformers Devastation, Resident Evil HD remake, Resident Evil 4, fucking Killing Floor 2, and like 6 other controller games. All of them broken,
Okay.
completely busted. Same problem. Nothing.
How
worked.
was the FPS?
So I didn't try. I tried a game that we did. One of the indie games, one of the shitstorm games we did.
Yeah.
And I tried that, and that kind of worked, but the buttons were still ruinous, like just fucked up. And I look at, well, there's no custom profile made for it. Well, it's like, shouldn't there have a default? No. So after multiple days of troubleshooting, I find out that Steam, like, not only do you have to be in big picture mode, you have to have Steam Overlay on. I turn Steam Overlay off so that when my friends on Steam log on, I don't have to blur their names out when we're recording videos.
Yeah, of course.
But that breaks the Steam controller.
Oh.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Wow.
If
I'm
you-
very surprised by that,
If
actually.
you don't have, you know who else is surprised? Everyone who was troubleshooting it with me, who didn't think to tell me to turn Steam Overlay back
Yeah.
on. So, Steam Overlay gone, broken. It also means you have to use Big Picture mode. The problem with Big Picture mode is when you want to leave Big Picture mode, you move your controller and you go to exit, and then you go to turn your controller off, which is a long press on the Steam button. Unfortunately, the guide button is the input for turning Big Picture mode back on. So if Steam is still on and you turn this controller off, it will register that long press and then turning the controller off as one input and turn Steam Big Picture Mode back on, which means you then have to get your mouse and keyboard and turn Steam Big Picture Mode back off.
Again.
But after you turn off
Every
the controller
time you turn
from
off
Big
the
Picture.
controller, unless you exit Steam directly.
Well, going back to
I mean, that
trends,
seems like a thing they would fix, like, almost immediately, though.
Yeah.
I think.
there's not a lot of time though.
Yeah, well, like of the things that are surprising to you, like, well, it's one of the stories this week, but Mac owners got the biggest surprise.
Which is?
Finding out that the controller doesn't work at all on Macs.
Period.
And, like,
Right.
I mean, that happens, but at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't they have let people know that in advance?
Transformers is put out
Yeah.
by a small indie publisher, I believe. So
I
that's
decided, okay, what's the game I'm going to use? What's the
Yeah.
game that people are recommending? What's the perfect test for the sit on your couch and play a mouse game with this thing? And it's Civ 5. Because Civ 5 has no action. I can take as long as I want. And it's just replacing
It's a
the mouse
cursor.
movement.
Go ahead.
And Firaxis has an official controller layout up on Steam right now that gets selected.
Okay.
That maps the buttons to like a Civilization Rev situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I ran into the problem of using the right haptic thing
Pad.
for mouse control is the worst. What it does is it's emulating a trackball. That's what it's trying to do.
So you can play Golden Tee whenever you want.
Click on it, and
Wait,
and it-
really?
Yeah,
It's not like you press and it goes that way?
You can set it to like a standard like laptop mouse pad.
Yeah.
But the proper quote unquote way that everyone says is the best and is the version written into like developer like profiles. Like Civ 5's thing is by Firaxis. It's emulating a trackball, and you can go in and you can say, I'm gonna I want trackball friction to be low, or so when you flick it, it goes quite far before stopping, or I want it to be high, or where it'll come to a dead stop. It's pretending to be a trackball. Now, I don't like trackballs, and I certainly don't like fake trackballs mapped to pads. And I spent until 7 in the fucking morning last night messing with every sensitivity, friction, fucking setting. I could not find any version. I spent like 4 hours just messing with mouse settings. I kept having multiple problems. Either the sensitivity is too high, so high that I can't select smaller things. Like I can't choose the difference between research or like a civil policy. Or it's so low that my thumb just flies right off the side of the thing.
Okay, so
and what you're supposed to be doing is for big movements, you do a giant flick and then
stop it.
Put your hand down on it to stop it.
That's how Kid Icarus Uprising works.
And then use small motions after that, dude. That is no mouse replacement by any means.
Did you then turn it off and try it as like a laptop touchpad? You said because
that one doesn't work either because it makes the distance problem even worse. Turning mouse acceleration on mitigates the distance problem, but then it's less accurate. And like, so I thought.
Wait, so is there no way to map it to like you touch this part of the pad and it goes to that part of the screen?
So you can no. There's no way to map it to quadrants. To my knowledge, you can set it up so that it's mapped to buttons. You can set it up so that it's mapped to your mouse or your look or your digital joystick with some console games, and that's really ghetto. Having this thing pretend to be an analog stick is the worst thing I've ever felt in my life. Playing Transformers when I got it working and like holding it to just holding right on the right side of this thing to move the fucking camera over. Oh god, the worst. The absolute worst.
What was the most successful game?
Civ 5.
Wow.
And like I got to a point after 4 or 5 hours in which like I could play this,
but why would you?
But why?
But it's miserable. Like I was still after a couple hours missing prompts, I thought I was going nuts because I was bitching about this on Twitter and I was going in that NeoGAF topic and everyone was like, "This is the best. This is going to replace. I'm playing everything." People even say, "I'm playing Civ 5 on my couch. It's such a great time." Like, am I crazy? Am I the only person that fucking hate this thing? Is terrible. And then I looked like in a broader sense and like general reception is pretty poor. This is no mouse and keyboard replacement, not even supplement.
And the build quality is baffling.
You want to know why the back triggers feel so bad? Because they pop off and it's just a single sheet of plastic pressing mechanical micro switches. or macro, terrible. Like, press that micro switch.
No, I see that because it's
Press it.
Okay, there it is.
Never clean.
Because like the build is bad on this, but like if the tech worked, it would have at least had that going for it.
The one thing I see is that some people are able to get used to it, and I've seen some videos. I forget the guy's name, but there's a guy putting out a lot of videos where he's rolling through Doom 3. And he's doing it, and he's doing it almost as good as like an FPS.
But is there an in-camera shot, like a picture of his hands holding it? Because I wouldn't believe that if I couldn't. And he's using it like a trackball, which sucks.
The real test.
Trackballs are amazing if you're good with them. But
but no one is.
Trust me.
So you got to take a page
really
from the days of Dreamcast Quake players versus PC Quake players.
Yeah.
And
it was really close.
And have people using this fight against people with mouse WASD and just see what that KD ratio is.
If you spend enough time making a custom profile with custom mouse settings and messing this up, you do get higher precision if you spend the tens of hours to get used to it and you set it up. But the feel of the controller and the placement of the buttons and these triggers is so bad that I can't imagine why you would spend that time.
Because here's the thing with the controllers, you could get used to it, but pressing buttons and just getting bad feedback, or I don't like pressing this button. I'm used to it, but every other major controller out just...
There's like cool gimmicks, like these triggers are actually 2 buttons. Mm-hmm. Like there's the soft press and there's the hard press, and those are discrete inputs. These lower triggers are a decent idea. That's why the 360 Pro thing has them as well.
Xbox One.
The Xbox One Pro pad has them, and they replace like X, A, B, Y button inputs.
Is that out yet?
No, it's
not yet.
That one I will also bring in.
You can't afford it yet.
No, I can't. I gotta save up my allowance.
and get 3 jobs.
And you people aren't the only people I've put this in the hands of. Every single person that I've put this into somebody's hands, they immediately go, "Oh,
what'd your dad have to say?"
Like my dad would look at this and like just put it down and go back to solitaire, man.
Yeah,
like it's such a horrible.
For the shits and the giggles, did you try a fighting game?
I tried Skullgirls, actually.
How'd that work?
Well, from my side, did the controller work?
When I fixed the Steam overlay problem, it did work. It's emulated as a gamepad, right?
But you have to use
you can use the D-pad or the analog stick. Also, the analog stick not that good either. Okay. Like it's the most normal part of the whole thing.
It feels like the Wii U's Pro stick.
It has a very tight radius, which I actually don't like, but.
So it dropped your bread and butters all over the place?
Dude, I went in and I did a jab with Philia and said, I'm done.
Wait, so were you playing with the right pad as the buttons, or with the
X with the regular buttons?
That's really uncomfortable.
Dude, it's I can't reach the X button normally with my thumb length.
You have to
and that's jab.
You got to work for your jabs, son. You got to work for that jabs.
What a mess.
I'm not one to usually complain about the price of something, but the build quality relative to the $60 price is.
I guess they figure the functionality.
It's almost fucking offensive when you look at how good the build quality is on the Xbox One and PS4 controllers, and this is right down there with the Ouya controller's build quality. But an Ouya controller costs $20-$30.
And the final the final argument on the Ouya controller was always you could always plug it out and shove anything else in there.
Yeah, and guess what? On a PC, you're probably better off doing that.
And the thing is I get this replaces mouse movement in a lot of ways. If you plug in your DualShock 4 and put in DS4 Windows for general purpose mouse use that's not intensive, you can use that thing's touchpad, and that you can also remap every single one of those buttons to keys. Like a Joycha key kind of thing, and it's a good controller also.
Mm-hmm. So I could see this a couple of driver updates later. I could see all those problems that you like the software problems you're talking about,
profiles,
and all that can get fixed. That can all get patched.
But when everyone has to band together as a community to make something somewhat functional, there's a problem.
So it happens, but it's just you can't patch the feel.
So patch this controller.
I got really angry about this when I saw.
Well, the Batarang wonders if you're actually right about that.
Yeah.
I got really upset when I saw people talking about it, and even Valve employees going like, well, this is the early limited release, and some people even saying, I'm not sure if they were Valve employees, but like, this is the beta before they hit store shelves.
Okay.
Like, I didn't sign up for a controller beta. I just ordered it off ebgames.com.
Okay.
Okay? And the idea is that the community profiles will be done by the time it hits stores on November 10th. And that problem will just solve itself, and people will just find out. But here's the other problem. There's currently no way to vote or upvote any of the community profiles. It's
That's
like
not
alphabetical or time-based or some shit.
That's not
so you have Jimmy's profile above the official company profile.
So on the Shield, right? They have a map, like a universal mapper system, right? That lets people map the buttons to different touches, or like you can say a stick, like you say like left stick will be a virtual stick here, and you pop it on where the little stick should be on the game, right? A really, really robust mapping system that's actually really strong, and it has that and like cloud-based mapping. So you boot up any Android title, you search, and then they're ranked, and they have likes and dislikes, and people can write comments about the quality of the mapping.
Good.
And you need that dislike system, because you always see the top one and you go for it and you're like, yep, played perfectly.
Anybody?
Thanks for that timely NVIDIA Shield reference.
Well, it's
reset the clock.
It's baffling that Valve of all companies didn't get that.
It's like, I get that this thing is a customizable piece of hardware, and that's awesome. If you want to make your weird, crazy setup that you personally like for like Torment or something, that's great. But the basic functionality on most of these games is so bad. I don't use XPadder because I don't want to go through that process, and I shouldn't have to play like a regular video. It's crazy. It's so bad.
I guess it shows like Valve does a lot of good things and very smart, and this is just like, you know, a drop in the bucket. Well, we sure fucked up that, at least in this stage, you know? Like, not infallible.
I'd be interested in a revision
piece
too.
of hardware.
Well, yeah,
definitely.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Revision would be cool.
That's it. Yeah, like I want to see where this is at as far as driver updates.
This
come
is the
to-
Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see where it's at in a couple of months when they get those updates going. But like, yeah, hardware wise, I don't know what to say, man. So you got a controller, you got a mouse and keyboard. That's fine for now, I guess.
It feels like they tried to make something to fix all problems, and they've ended up causing more problems.
And it fixes zero.
Like, I can't think of any games off the top of my head that would work better with it. You know what I mean?
The saying goes,
and like again, having these extra triggers on the bottom is great. That's actually
nice.
a fantastic thing, and you could add those to an Xbox One or a PS4 pad, and it would only be better.
So, jack of no trades, master of none.
Jack of no trades, master of none.
You're nobody.
Like, maybe
no.
it's really good for Champman, but I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
So, in good news,